What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on Sammy and Brian.
What's up, guys?
I think you guys saw the title, so you know exactly what this video is about. We are reviewing the new movie, The Game Changers, which just came out on Netflix, so you can watch it for free right now.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of you guys have asked us to do a review, and so I want to do this on the couples channel. I might do this again with a bunch of the people over in England, since we'll have a lot more people to do it with. But we just watched it. We finished 5 minutes ago.
Just now.
So we thought it would be good to do it fresh.
Yes.
So what'd you think?
It was really, really, really good. I think this was the best documentary, like vegan documentary that I've ever seen.
By far.
By far. It had the most facts, the most like emotional, I don't know, it was just really, really, really good.
Made me cry. That's what you're gonna say, huh?
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Yeah, Sam almost cried a few times in there.
Yeah, it was good. They did a really, really good job.
So for me, like, to be completely honest, is like an unpopular opinion, but not every vegan documentary really makes it to my favorite list.
Yeah.
A lot of them I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, I wouldn't show that to somebody who wasn't vegan because they would poke holes in a lot of the things you said.
Exactly.
This one I really liked because every time they said something, they made it like a statement of fact. In the bottom left corner, if you're paying attention, they put the author of the study. And I'm not sure if they put the study itself or just the author itself, but at the end of it, they also show a big citation list. And if you want to, you can go online to thegamechangers.com, something like that.
Yes.
And they have a big page that shows all the studies and citations.
Yes, I appreciated that.
That is so important to me. That is number one. I think that's even more important to me than the production value, the entertainment value. Because there's so many times that people will say a statement, and if there's no science behind it, I just don't want to put it out there and give it to anyone else to watch because I'm like, it's not rooted in fact.
Exactly.
Even if it's the truth, I need it to be correlated to science, son.
Yep.
And this whole entire film had tons of studies that they were referring
to. Yeah, it was that was like huge. Yeah, I kept seeing that too, and I was like, yes, love that, yes.
I think the NFL test, when they did the blood and they separated the plasma from the fat.
Yes, that was so cool. That was just cool in general just to see, but that was like whoa, that was freaking awesome. And that was awesome for them. You could tell that really blew their minds to actually see that and like see the difference. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, and I think that one was good because a lot of people see studies and they're like, all right, well, that's a bunch of words.
Right, exactly.
This is cool because it was a real life example. These dudes couldn't ignore.
Excuse me, sorry.
These guys couldn't ignore it because they're literally looking at their blood right there.
Exactly.
And both vials were their blood from 2 different days. Like, there's no denying that one is definitely cloudy. You can see a lot more fat cells in there. And of course, they could run the test and show them the numbers, but I think it was more important to show it visually, and that was really cool.
Exactly, yeah.
The other test they did, I had heard about this test, and I was like, oh gosh, you guys are gonna do this test and everyone's gonna use it to make this documentary sound ridiculous, was the one where they measured their boners.
Oh, yeah,
to put it in a layman's term.
Yes.
Basically, they put these rings around the penises and then tested how often they got erections and how hard and filled with blood their actual erection got and how long throughout the entire night they had erections.
Yes.
And in every single dude, they saw this massive increase, this huge jump in the diameter and hardness of the penis, as well as like 300 to 500% longer duration of the entire night they actually had an erection. That is an important thing. Because I think it sounds a little loony when you start hearing it. You're like, oh my gosh, they're measuring dicks and stuff. Right? Like that's where your brain goes, right?
Yeah,
literally. Like, of course the vegans wouldn't measure penises. Like, that's stupid.
Like, what the heck? Yeah, exactly.
But I thought that was important because I feel like so many guys are so against taking meat out of their diet. I think for girls it's a lot easier because the girls aren't so meat-centric. But guys are like, the documentary goes through it. Like, you know, a lot of us have seen those commercials like, man is meat, meat is man, steak, meat, man, meat. And I think a lot of people think that, like, you get more testosterone from meat, you get to have sex harder and all that kind of stuff. And I think when they play on this part, more so than the athletic performance and stuff, because let's be honest, most guys are not athletes.
Right, no.
Cool, they like to watch the athletes.
Yeah, right.
But they're like, cool, so that guy can run a faster 500, but I don't run 500s ever. Give me the steak.
Right.
But as soon as you start threatening guys' penises,
right, that's
their
when
manliness,
they're like, what? Yeah, exactly.
That's when I think it's going to really impact a lot of people.
Exactly.
And so I thought at first that was the thing I was least excited to see, and then that was one of the things I was most excited to see.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did it in a way that made sense, and it wasn't just like woo-woo, it actually had science behind it. I thought that was really cool.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because we had heard something about it, but I wasn't sure what the hell it was about. And then once I finally saw what they were talking about, I was like, okay, makes sense. It wasn't just like woo-woo fucking bullshit. Like, all right, makes sense. Got it.
As soon as the doctor pulls out the model of the penis, all three guys laugh, and
They're
I was
like,
just like, boys.
It's so funny, like little children. It was so funny.
So stupid
like,
as
oh
men,
my goodness.
you guys. I think surprisingly one of my favorite parts of the movie was when they got to the poaching part.
Yes.
First off, is an Aussie guy, I believe, an Aussie guy who went to Africa to help the guys there. I think it was Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, yes.
Specifically, yeah.
Yes.
He went there to help them with their anti-poaching efforts, but he's like a badass who like is good with mercenary stuff and stuff. So he was just planning on doing it for a little bit, but then he fell in love with it and did it forever. But I just thought it was cool because Aussie people generally, Aussie culture, in my opinion, has a lot of that like hoo, man, ooh, a lot of cussing, a lot of vulgarity, a lot of And I think it was really cool because that guy came from that. And I think that one of the coolest things is when he said, I'm out here and I was only intending to be here for 6 months. I stayed here because I loved it so much. I want to protect these animals. I realized there's only 5,000 of these rhinos left.
Yeah.
I want to protect every single one of them. It's incredibly important to me. And then he said at one point he was realizing that he was saving these animals. Then he's going home every night and then eating meat. And he was realizing, he said, I was calling myself out on my own shit.
Yeah.
I knew what was going on, but I was just not accepting it. And he said slowly he couldn't fight himself on being a hypocrite with it. He was saying like, why? Yeah, basically like, why am I pretending that I'm saving these animals when I'm doing the same thing that I'm trying to protect these animals from to these animals?
Exactly, yeah. I know that was really sweet when he like came to that conclusion and everything. Like, yeah, that was really, really cool. Yeah, that was a very cool part of the whole documentary. That was probably my favorite part too. That was very, very cool. Yeah, that was very sweet.
And then I thought also the very interesting part was when they were talking about the cigarette industry, which we all know is really stupid, right? Like, hindsight's 20/20, and I think that's what's going to happen in the future with vegan stuff and all this kind of like research that people right now are like, oh, it's stupid. But I don't think there's anybody on this planet who would now claim that doctors would think that cigarettes are good for you, that cigarettes don't have any impact on your throat, lungs, or your health. I don't think there's anybody who thinks that smoking cigarettes will increase your athletic performance. But back in the day, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, that's exactly what we were saying.
Right.
And not only were we saying it, people were believing it. So they were smoking cigarettes to become better at whatever they were trying to do.
Right.
Now, that's laughable. That's so stupid. I thought it was very cool that they pointed out that a lot of these studies that are now coming out about meat being good for you or not having any bad effects on you and stuff are funded by the exact same conglomerate company as the studies that were being put out in the cigarette era saying that they're good for you and have no effect. They were supported by, I think it's like Nexon or something like that. It's a company that was something like that, but it's the same company that's been funding those, and then as soon as the cigarette industry died out, they were putting it onto the meat industry and coming up with all these studies and funding these studies that show that meat is fine for you.
So what does that tell you? Like, hello, it's just replacing. Like, hello.
You got to make your money.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just so frustrating. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the major points. I mean, I could say each one I really enjoyed. Like, I really enjoyed Arnie, of course, because like that, it's one of my idols. The same way that the guy who hosts the documentary is talking about how Bruce Lee is one of his inspirations for fighting. One of my obvious greatest inspirations for bodybuilding was Arnold's, right? And he was always like, milk is for babies, beer is for men. He's always like very masculine with all, or machismo, I guess, with all his stuff. And so I thought it was very cool to see him admit and say that he thought and believed that the meat thing was real, and that's the reason that he pushed it so hard. But then he said, now that I've actually learned a lot of different stuff, I full on don't think that that's the way you should do it. And you can see like at certain points when he's explaining things about how he used to eat and stuff, you can see his like mouth kind of curve into like an unhappy face, like a subconscious body language kind of thing. But I just thought that was really cool because he clearly really enjoys talking about this change that he's made in his life, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Is there anything else?
No, I don't think so. It was cool to see Nimai on there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Shout out to my boy Nimai.
Nimai.
Patrick Babooming in there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Kendrick Ferris. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I was watching and I was like, where's Clarence Kennedy? Why is he not in here,
Yeah.
bro? He's just as good as as Kendrick Ferris.
Sorry,
Hey.
there goes the trash truck. Every time we try and film outside, a trash can or an airplane goes by, so apologies
Or
for
this
that.
dog behind us.
Or the dog. So apologies.
So I think we'll wrap it up there because I could
Yeah.
probably go on for a lot more with like the
Yeah.
very details of it.
details,
But yeah, just the overview of it is I went into it not thinking that I was going to like it because again, a lot of documentaries I do think are a little bit exaggerating on the
Yeah.
emotions and a little bit free with the way they use facts
Yeah.
and lacking in science.
Yeah.
And I was expecting this to be a lot of that kind of a thing, whereas it didn't do that.
But it was very good. Yeah. I think this one was my favorite doc. So that's really
This
good.
is by far my
Yeah.
favorite vegan documentary, unless you're going for the actual like vulgar graphic
Yeah.
images and you're trying to go at that you know the suffering ending ethics
Yeah.
and stuff. That
Right.
that would obviously be going to something like Earthlings or something like that or
Yeah.
Dominion.
Right, right.
But yeah, this by far is my favorite documentary now. I would have said I would probably have given it a 3 out of 10 before I had seen it. Like that's what I was assuming I was going to enjoy it as.
Yeah.
And then I went through it and I think this is a 9.5 out of
Yeah,
10. Very
9 out of
small
10
things
for
that I
me,
would
yeah.
change.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
So
go check it out. It's on Netflix.
Go watch it.
It's
It's
free.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
only an hour and 20, so it won't burn through a
really
whole
good.
night.
It was really, really good.
And if you've seen it already, we'd love to see what you think in the comments below. Give us like your favorite parts or just anything about it that you'd like to share.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna get out of here before we get eaten by flies and
Yeah.
ran over by a trash man.
Bye,
We love
guys.
you guys. Appreciate you being in here. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and we will see you in the next video.
Yeah.